Dennis, talk to me about News Poll today. Another boost here for Labor. Primaries unchanged. Labor's primaries at 33. A drop, though, in the coalition, 1 point down to 36. Two-party preferred. It's where, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's where Labor was at the last election. That was a shocking result for Labor, but they're on the improve, and it feels like absolutely they got that momentum a couple of weeks ago and they are hanging on to it.
Peter, I tend to disagree with you a little bit there, because I think that what the News Poll has shown is not so much momentum for Labor, but a loss of Liberal momentum. And also, there is very little movement in this poll. A point here or there. Yes, the two-party preferred calculation shifted. It's better for Labor, and of course that's better for the government. But I think that it's too early yet to say that the momentum is with the Labor Party. Clearly, the Liberals are not having a good start to the campaign. But curiously, the only number in that News Poll today which actually was anywhere near the margin of error was actually an improvement for Peter Dutton on the preferred Prime Minister. So the actual, when you look at the numbers, the biggest shift was a positive for Peter Dutton. But I think it still comes down to that where these changes are occurring, in which states and, of course, in which seats. I think that, yes, the government's better off with an extra point on that two-party preferred advantage, but I think that it is too early to say that Peter Dutton's written off and the Labor Party's got a winning momentum.
No, I'm not saying that.
And well, it's just a question, and of course, momentum's important. It really is important, and so are perceptions. And I think this poll has helped the perceptions for the government, but fundamentally, there are still real problems there for Labor, particularly on that primary vote. I mean, they're celebrating because they're back to where they were at the last election when they won by one seat. They're going into this election with a majority of two.
And it was their worst result since the 1940s too. So, I do not at all, in any way, shape or form, roll the coalition here or say that they can't come back from where they are now. But clearly they've got to improve, because they don't just need to get to minority government given that horseshoe. They've really got to try and get to a majority position. That's the challenge for them. Talk to me today about what happened on the stock exchange in the political sense here, Chris Uhlmann, because $100 billion wiped off. Yes, there's been some recovery this afternoon. I'll get into the economics and how it might play out with interest rates in a moment with Warren Hogan. But we know in Canada, I'm watching Canada really closely, the Conservatives in Canada were in the box seat to win. Then rolls in Trump, and he has basically turned it around, and the left look like they could be returned, which I find extraordinary, but that's where they are. And it's sort of been the same sort of response to Trump in this contest in Australia with that soft, undecided vote.
Absolutely, and look, there are some big Trump supporters, and some of those big Trump supporters watch Sky News, but I can tell you that that's not a majority of Australians. So say 20% of people support Donald Trump in Australia and think that he's doing a great thing and would like to see more of it, would like to see some of it here. That's a minority of the Australian electorate. Now, he genuinely does unsettle a lot of Australians, and if that can be hung around the neck of the coalition, and that's a problem. And if you keep saying to people, as they have been messaging, which is that we'll deal better with Donald Trump than the Labor Party is, we're getting to a point where that sounds a bit like the guy in the bar who says that bloke with the broken bottle is my best mate. You've got to be very careful about the way that you attach yourself to Donald Trump. And going to the share market, what does the share market matter, not just in Australia, but overseas to most Australians? There's superannuation. And that will be a very big deal as this continues to roll on. If the markets continue to tumble, And people who have money tied up through their superannuation will begin to wonder about their future. And that then brings in the older spectrum of voters for the coalition, where they usually have their larger base of people. If they're getting unsettled, then that's not good for the coalition. And the other thing in this campaign is Easter comes in the middle of it. We'll be voting in a fortnight. There's very little time left, Peter, for the coalition to make a big splash and to capture people's imagination. So if they're hiding something up their sleeve, they better bring it out soon.
Get it out, get it out, get it out. Hey, Dennis, when you're watching tomorrow the Sky News debate, because these are questions from ordinary people and the two men are very close together on the same shared stage, I think this is such an interesting election debate because you really see how they relate to ordinary people. What are you going to be looking for tomorrow night?
Oh, well, I think obviously, the campaign is going to decide the election, and points like this debate are really pivotal for both sides. What we have to see from both leaders is, first of all, no mistakes. Anyone who makes a mistake is going to be in deep trouble. Peter Dutton, who's had a slow start, can't afford any mistakes at all. And what we have to see from the Prime Minister is his ability to actually get across detail. What we have seen in the last couple of days, particularly with the Port of Darwin, where he has got the Labor Party into trouble, he's made a mistake about what the policy was, he's overstated it, and now he's constantly trying to walk back. And he gave Peter Dutton a little window there after Peter Dutton had, had that slow start. So I think what we'll be looking for is for Anthony Albanese to demonstrate, and remember, he wasn't good on detail in the first election campaign, although he won, but there will be a real pressure on him to get the details right. For Peter Dutton, it'll be the challenge to actually try and lift the spirit and lift the rhetoric and concentrate on the economy and cost of living. This is where we're going to move in the debate to the economy. We've had all these disruptions, we'll have more, but what we have to see, a Prime Minister across the detail and a leader of the opposition who's able to lift the spirits of his side.
And message discipline, I'd have to say, to Peter Dutton. All right, I'll leave it there. Gents, thank you very much. See you next week.